Hi, I'm Jeff from the INTJ equation, and today I want to talk to you about a past relationship I had with Jeannie, who's an ESFP, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about the dynamic of our relationship and how that went. There's a big misconception that the INTJ ESFP relationship is one of the best that they could possibly have, but that is furthest from the truth. So I just wanted to bring my son's mother here to kind of let her give her end of the story as well. You heard a little bit from me. Yeah, so we met about 7-8 years ago, and it was pretty rocky from the start. You want to kind of just introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jeannie, and like you said, I'm his son's mother. Kind of hard to believe, actually, considering how I guess during, like you said, from the very beginning, it was like really off to a rocky start. Like really rocky. I don't know what you really want me to say other than just
This is, yeah, she hasn't done anything like this before. She doesn't know a whole lot about MBTI or Jungian analytical psychology. I taught her a little bit, kind of just on the fly stuff. I do, hopefully, to make a video series where I break things down and try to teach her, if she's willing to do that, of course. Yeah, so we just want to talk a little bit about the dynamic of the relationship. First, I think with an INTJ and ESFP, the initial traction I had towards her was she just really outgoing and free-spirited. She was just always so in the present moment. She could lighten up any room, talk to any person. That wasn't never an obstacle, and it's always been like my greatest obstacle. I was just always so attracted to how she could just be herself and not be self-conscious about how others think of her. She just was her. What kind of led you to me?
what really attracted me to you was the fact that you seem to have had it all together. Like you had like a plan for everything. You seemed really well figured out. You just had it all together. You were organized and you were very, what is it, like assertive, like in a sort of dominance matter. And it just, I don't know, you just seemed figured out. That's how I explain it, that he just had it all planned out. And I was just so scattered. So to me, that was like a breath of fresh air.
Okay, now we'll kind of talk about the things that drove me nuts for her. It's really the same thing, that she just lives in the moment and she doesn't think things through. Or she did it in the past. She's doing a lot better with that now. She just kind of would act on impulse, just kind of go on a fritz and go off purely emotion, where, I'm more of like a future thinker. And like she said, big about planning. So, I mean, it was like an initial attraction thing, but eventually it just drove me nuts because that is a complete opposite of the way I operate and interact with the world, basically. What drove you nuts?
Everything. You seem to be like impatient with a lot of things, like I don't know, because I would kind of go off on a line of tangent and it drove you nuts immediately, and you became a little impatient and annoyed. And that's what ended up getting on my nerves, is how annoyed you would get with me and how frustrated you would get with me. So, and then there was the fact that you would try to get me to, I guess, like be more organized. And in my mind, it was just, like you said, purely emotion. I would get very emotional and I would go and get really, what is that word I'm thinking of? Like defensive. It immediately just pure off of emotion. So I don't know, it felt like you were pushing every button.
Yeah, I think what kind of something that INTJs do subconsciously and kind of consciously to kind of show that we show affection is that we try to improve things for other people when a lot of people don't want it. A lot of people just kind of want to talk and be heard. But like I kind of seen that it looked like to me that she was struggling to stay organized and struggling to plan. So I was trying to help her that way, but I was, being kind of controlling. And we both have introverted intuition in our top 4 cognitive functions. She probably doesn't know what I'm talking about. I explained this a little bit before. But I have NI hero, which is way up here. She has NI inferior, which is down here. And that is like the future planning, the wants, the desires. So it's just kind of like my bread and butter. It's kind of something that she's insecure about. But on the other hand, she has SE hero and I have SE inferior. So SE, extroverted sensing, is about being in a present moment, mechanical aptitude, like athleticism, mastery pretty much of the physical environment. That's her bread and butter. And for me, that's something that I'm really insecure about. Like it took me a long time and a lot of work to sit in front of a camera and speak on this sort of thing. That's kind of like the big thing that was like a detriment to our relationship. Were there any good times you feel in a relationship?
There was a few moments. Try to remember some good times. Unfortunately, that's how the brain works. We only really focus on the negative. So, no, we did have our good moments where we did have, our good laughs and our good, I like to say, moments of puns and such. That always made things better.
I would say the sex was pretty good.
Yeah. That was crazy. I think that was the one thing that we can actually agree was the most fun, because I was more willing to experiment and you were definitely willing to, ask and go for it. And I was really open. And with the kind of personality that I guess I have, it makes me more of a submissive in a way, if you really think about it.
Yeah, it was cat is trying to scratch the hot dog. Okay. Anyways, I'll probably edit that out. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, like there's some theories like SE users shouldn't be with SE users. I think that is completely false. Like when I'm with SI users, which is introverted sensing, they're the ones who supposedly like to receive the sensation. They like to be kind of like the bottom person. But it's kind of like having sex with a sex doll, really, is the equation. Is what it equates to. It's kind of boring in a lot of ways. But we did have a son together. It looks like he's going to be an ESFP as well. He's almost 5, so that is definitely something that was good out of the relationship. It was very, very rocky. There were some other issues there. I don't know if she wants to discuss it or not. It's fine if she doesn't. That goes beyond personality and compatibility. But it exploded pretty bad at the end, and there was a big court case that lasted a couple of years. But eventually, we both kind of got things back on track, and now we're good terms, and we've probably been on good terms the last year and a half or so, maybe 2 years. So I think overall, it made us grow. We learned a lot of ourselves and kind of our limitations and what we should and shouldn't do. So, I mean, really, I wouldn't change it, but I mean, if you're definitely considering this relationship, like I said, it's a big misconception. People think it's going to go in and be all good and not bad. Like Socionics, the Russian version of Jungian analytical psychology, the MBTI, says it's the perfect relationship for INTJs and ESFPs, and each type has their own dualist relationship, but it's 100% false. But it will make you learn and grow if you're willing to be receptive of the lessons that need to be learned, and pretty much if you want to destroy your life and rebuild it.
I'd say go in with like an open mind instead of, getting all emotional about it. Don't let your emotions, take over. Be more, logical about it as far as like, taking it all in and learning from it. That's all I can really say.
Okay. Just want to point out a few other things. Like I said, our cognitive functions, they're down below. They will be soon. They mirror each other. Like I said, my NI's up here, her NI's up here, my SE's here, her SE's here. We also have extroverted thinking, introverted feeling. It's like looking in a mirror. Our cognitive functions are the same, but in a different order. And that causes us to react and be totally different people. But
butting heads.
Yeah.
All the time.
There's a quote, I forgot who it's by, but opposites attract, but they end up driving each other crazy. Something along the lines of that. So if you are an INTJ ESFP relationship, be prepared for a very turbulent roller coaster ride.
It might be the actual 1% that'll survive that kind of relationship.
It'll probably have a murder suicide by one end.
I was going that route.
Well, anyways, we hope to do some future videos together where I teach her the psychology. I think it definitely helped me, and I think it can definitely help her. It is a little bit dense, but there's a theory where you can go into your ego and go to your subconscious. Then INTJs can become ESFPs and become this inspiring, great performer that lives in the present moment. And ESFPs can become an INTJ where they're this master planning strategist. So we kind of have a little bit of each other in our own psyches. So I think that's kind of what drawn us and really made us envious of one another and what caused a lot of the turbulence. Anyways, you got any last questions or comments to add?
No.
All right, well, I thank you for going beyond a clickbait. This is Jeff from INTJ Equation. Please visit my website, it'll be in the description below, www.intjequation.com. Also have a Discord server where we're having very lively, interesting discussions as of late. And please like, share, subscribe these videos, and thank you.